Hey everyone, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. We're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning for Williamson County, and this is going to be for a line of storms we've been watching coming out of West Tennessee that's crossed the Tennessee River and is now moving pretty quickly through Hickman County and coming into Williamson County now. So this warning is going to be for 60 mile per hour winds, possibly some penny-sized hail, so small hail possible in there as well. But definitely the threat of 60 mile per hour winds is possible with this. So here's your polygon. Let's take a look at who's included in this right now. And this is basically everybody from Franklin and Nolensville to the south. So Davidson County, you're good to go for right now. Nothing on radar west of you, but we were all included in a tornado watch that was issued a little bit ago. Again, just a watch for tornadoes, and that was issued a little bit ago. That does include both counties, but right now we're just watching the severe thunderstorm warning that's going to be for Franklin and Nolensville and like Boston down to the south. So it's for this line of storms. It's mostly to the south of us, but we're catching the northern end of it. And looking at velocities, there are some pockets in here of some strong gusty winds. So the possibility exists up and down the line for some 60 mile per hour wind gusts as this comes through, and that would definitely be enough to bring down some trees and power lines and that kind of thing. It looks right now that most of that threat is going to be kind of localized. So at this moment, we don't see a lot of evidence that it's a widespread wind event, but we're certainly going to keep an eye on it, and we're going to rely on your reports too today, so that we can know if there is wind damage that's not necessarily being indicated on radar today as this comes through. So here are some areas, some of you that might be included in this. Let me move the radar over here. You see Leapers Fork, Franklin, at least the south parts, McKay's Mill, the Williamson County Fairgrounds, Page High School, Bethesda, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Boston, and over toward the Pinewood Road exit, Garrison Springs, Smarten, and Greenbrier. So these are areas that are included in the severe thunderstorm warning right now. Now up to the north, those of you up in Davidson County, doesn't look like there's anything on radar right now to the west of you. This is pretty much a Williamson County problem at the moment. Davidson County, I mean, you might get away with not much this morning, and that'd be all right. But this right now is just from Franklin down to the south. A couple of cells out ahead of this line over toward the fairgrounds and Page High School and up toward Burke Hollow. These are just small showers, some cells up there, nothing, no big deal. The main show is back here entering southwestern Williamson County right now around Greenbrier, Pinewood Road, exit there on 840. Garrison Springs, Smarten, out in the country there in southwestern Williamson County. So cloud to ground lightning strikes being indicated. So this is going to be sort of your classic thunderstorm with lightning, heavy rain, and maybe some strong gusty winds, potentially up to 60 miles per hour there in local small places there as this comes in. Let's take a wide view here and just sort of get an idea of what's going on. Let me get rid of the red box. I know that red lightning box can be a little confusing, and we don't want confusing. So I'm going to turn off the lightning for just a second and get rid of that red box. All right, so this is what we've got. This really large severe thunderstorm warning polygon stretches from Franklin all the way down to the Alabama border. And it's for this line, and the possibility exists up and down this line for those 60 mile per hour winds. So we are included in the northern end of that. As storms push off to the east today, there is a risk of some pretty severe weather east of us. So over from Nashville to the east today, there is a pretty big risk of severe weather, including tornadoes, very strong winds. We're sort of on the western edge of that threat. Okay, so once this moves through and gets on to going over toward the plateau and toward East Tennessee and the mid-Atlantic states, that's where some real business could be going on today as far as severe weather. And we're just sort of catching these storms as they develop and then head off that direction. So, but nonetheless, what we want you to do here in southern Williamson County just for a little while is, don't be driving under trees. stuff that could fall in gusty winds. You want to be out, or you want to be inside, not outside, off the golf course, away. If you're at the fairgrounds, be working your way toward the building there, and get inside, and be away from things that could fall. So especially if you're at the fairgrounds, follow the advice of the folks there, the coordinators and organizers there, with their plan when weather approaches as it is. So could be some small hail in there again. Getting some hail indicators, not a lot, but it would not surprise me at all if we got some reports of some small hail as this line comes through. So we'll be watching for your reports over on Twitter or X. So use hashtag TSpotter, and that is how we'll get your reports. The name for Twitter has changed. The way we operate really has not. So still use hashtag TSpotter, and we'll get those reports. We'll get those over to the Weather Service, and we have some pretty cool, new, efficient ways to do that. And so things are even better than they used to be as far as the way that we get reports to them, but we still rely on you using hashtag TSpotter on Twitter, and that'll help us out and help them out a great deal, especially as they have to try to decide what to do with this warning as these storms push east. Do they extend it? Do they keep it going into Rutherford and beyond, or are the storms really no big deal and they fall below severe limits? That's information they're going to want to know based on your reports. So send those in with hashtag TSpotter. Let's take a look at velocities here, check in with those. There are some pockets in here of some impressive winds, like down here in Lewis County. I mean, this is a very large polygon. So down here in Lewis County, there's some 58, 60 mile per hour winds being indicated there. I'm not seeing too many. There might be some pockets up here in eastern Hitman County of some 50, 55 mile an hour winds indicated on radar. I'm going to take a glance at TBNA while we're here off screen and just see. Let's see here if here's TBNA right here. And looking high up in the storm, some 60 mile per hour winds there. That's up at about 2,500 feet. Potentially exists for some gusty winds. But again, I don't expect this, at least based on radar data, to be a widespread wind damage event as this comes in. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect until... this is going to be in effect until 11 o'clock. So this is another, 10, 11, 12 minutes, something like that. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 11 o'clock. At that point, they'll decide whether they keep this thing going, whether they make it smaller and more localized to focus on specific areas. They may change this polygon as time goes on. We get closer to 11 o'clock. So looks like a stormy morning. A stormy lunchtime for at least southern Williamson County, probably northeastern Williamson County as well. And Davidson County just might squeak by on this one. This is kind of early in the day, David, for a severe weather threat. I'm still having my coffee.
Yeah, same. Yeah, there was a sounding that, I don't know if you saw it, Andrew, that the Weather Service published a couple minutes ago, which is it's basically a sampling of the upper levels of the atmosphere to determine whether storms are likely, and if so, what kind of storms. And the sounding that came out of BNA right there at the airport, or the one that's for that area, showed no indication of a tornado. I think the tornado threat is probably a little bit more to the east of us, and it will go on this afternoon. The atmosphere is super conducive to severe thunderstorms with straight line winds, but I didn't see, for you weather nerds in there, a hodograph that was curved on the sounding. And a curved hodograph would suggest concern about a tornado. These look more like thunderstorms with straight line winds and large hail. So, while I've been sitting over here listening to your broadcast, Andrew, looking to see if anything's coming into Nashville. I think maybe like Cane Ridge might get clipped a little bit over by Lakewood Village and Laverne out in Rutherford County by this storm that's coming in now. But I think for most of Nashville, it should be pretty uneventful. And in fact, if you drill down at the actual the parallelogram that defines the area in the U.S. where this tornado watch is, it only very barely clips Davidson and Williamson counties, but because of the way the old system works, they still have to include our counties. So my alarm level for tornado is low and almost non-existent, because I think all of the energy that's going to be needed to make storms is coming through now and before lunch. So I anticipate by mid-afternoon that our portion, Davidson and Williamson County, of the tornado watch will be dropped. But we don't know. We're going to wait and see. That's just what it looks like now. Just want to let you know what we're thinking, which is not really concerned for anything other than this severe thunderstorm warned storm that's coming into Williamson County now.
Yeah, thanks, David. And we have a couple of areas of some enhanced wind here. We're looking at the Weather Service's radar here, coming into Boston, crossing 840 right now. And then let me go over to TBNA, and it sort of shows the same area with just a little bit higher winds. And you see the bright blues here. So coming through Smarden, little community there along the Natchez Trace, going into Boston. That's Leapers Creek Road, and you can see 840 is the kind of the red line there. So crossing 840 there could be some enhanced winds there. Again, some quick wind gusts, 58, 60 miles per hour, right there around Boston Theta Road, Mobley's Cut Road, and Interstate 840 there, right around Boston, Burwood, Smarten, Theta, and up toward Beechwood Plantation. Could be some areas of some enhanced winds. We can see those a little bit here on the Weather Service's radar. They're not quite as bright, but this area here of some enhanced winds. So expect localized areas, some strong gusts that sort of make you go, whoa, that was pretty intense, and then it'll probably be over pretty quickly. So as David said, we expect that the higher severe threat will be over to our east today, and will be over along the plateau, East Tennessee, Mid-Atlantic states. They have a chance for some real bad business up there today with the threat of tornadoes and very strong thunderstorm winds. So I think once this passes, we'll at least get a break for a while, but we may even be done for the day. We'll just have to watch that. Storms coming through Leapers Fork now, Boston approaching Franklin, and so Franklin, prepare for some maybe some strong winds, and definitely some heavy rain there briefly, and could be a little bit of hail in there. This is not the kind that'll just destroy everything. This is maybe some small hail just mixed in with the rain and gusty winds, and then hopefully it'll move on out of here and leave us alone for a while. So about another 9 minutes on this warning that's in effect until 11 o'clock. And at that point, they will possibly make some changes to this warning as far as where exactly they draw the polygon. So it may be a little bit east. It may totally disappear. We just we don't know yet. We'll wait and see. But just expect some changes here to who's included in the severe thunderstorm warning over the next 5 to 7 minutes. See what the Weather Service is saying here. They're reporting down in Lawrenceburg that the winds are not too high. That's another place that was under the warning here, and this line of storms came through down there in Lawrenceburg, and they were not reporting very high winds. And so it looks like that's very good information for them. Again, the reports here are very helpful. And so they might just let this thing go. Might just let it expire at 11 and not do anything else with it. So indications that might happen. But nonetheless, be prepared for some gusty winds there around, especially in northern Murray County, coming into southwestern Williamson, Theta, Spring Hill, Thompson Station, Boston, Burwood, South Franklin, the Williamson County Fairgrounds, and Page High School over in areas like that. Watching just a little area that's just a smidge suspicious on the Weather Service radar southwest of Theta down in Murray County, moving east. Just maybe the slightest bit of rotation there. It's broad, but it's one of those things that can spin up pretty quick. But that would be a Murray County thing, and that's there just in northern Murray County, south of Theta. So seeing that on both TBNA and the Weather Service radar. So right there. Right there.
I see it, Andrew. I'm looking at it. It's trying, but it just can't quite. It's too broad.
Yeah.
And it might just be a little downbursty too.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on it. These are the kinds of things that we watch, and we don't quit watching it until it disappears. So we're just going to keep an eye on that. Again, that's northern Murray County. Just some weak. It's one of those things that as a person who sees a lot of radar images and studies this stuff, it just catches your eye, and so you just watch it for a while and make sure it doesn't develop into anything more. And that's right there. So a little bit of inbounds enhanced, and a little bit of weakness on the outbounds. So.
It's got a long way to go.
Yep, yeah. It does. It has a long way to go. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for another 5 minutes, and then at that point, indications are they'll let this warning go unless something changes, like what we just talked about. But right now, very well-drawn polygon here. The heavy rain comes right up to the northern edge of the polygon, coming into Franklin, McKay's Mill, Williamson County Fairgrounds, Sullivan Farms, all the neighborhoods on the south side of Franklin. Going to get some brief heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds, and hopefully that will be it. And we will move on from that and see the newest velocity data. It's sort of disappeared. So that little area of very weak and broad rotation there in northern Murray County just sort of fell apart. But we'll keep an eye on it. Not seeing anything too worrisome here on the velocities in Williamson County. If we were seeing really strong winds, we would see some bright blues. This is a Weather Service radar. Let's check TBNA. It's a little brighter on TBNA. Could have some strong winds there around right there around Sycamore Road, right where Sycamore Road and 840 come together, and also right there around Carter's Creek Pike around Burwood, right there at the Carter's Creek exit on 840. Could be some strong winds there on the order of 60 miles per hour. And that's what this warning is for, the warning that actually just disappeared. So the warning actually was canceled a few minutes early. So but could see some gusty winds if you're in Burwood and up Carter's Creek Pike. They're near 840. Could be some strong gusty winds there. TBNA, which is a radar in Nolensville, has a pretty good read on this, and it's showing some winds in the 58 to 60 mile per hour range right there around Carter's Creek. So that would be moving up toward the Goose Creek bypass, and right there around where Columbia Pike and Goose Creek branch off there and go over to Berry Farms and I-65. So some strong wind could be approaching there. But the warning has expired, and so the severe thunderstorm warning is no longer in effect. But nonetheless, I think you need to understand that you could get some gusty winds. It still could bring down some tree limbs and that kind of thing in southern Williamson County. So not completely ready to write off the fact that you could get some briefly gusty winds right there around 840. I don't think the Weather Service radar here has a great read on this storm because it's starting to move. The strongest winds are moving parallel to the radar beam. So I think that there's reason to believe that there could be some strong winds here that just cross Carter's Creek, coming up to around West Harpeth Road, Keystone, crossing Columbia Pike, right there around the Goose Creek area, and I believe there's a new fire station there, right around in there. Goose Creek Bypass and Berry Farms, and going over toward the fairgrounds. So honestly, if you're over there at the fairgrounds, if you know somebody that's over there right now this morning, I think they open at 10, I think. If you know somebody that's over there at the fairgrounds today, they may already have everybody over there in the building, but be a good idea to be inside if you know somebody that's over there. So some strong winds possible there.
I asked the Weather Service about that suspicious rotation down in Murray County. They were as unconcerned about it as we were.
Nice.
And I would take their opinion over it, over our
Yeah.
opinion on it.
Yeah.
And they are always looking at that stuff and not having to worry about broadcasting on YouTube while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And so they're looking at every inch of the storm, as they are always looking at all inches of every storm. And they got more than one expert doing it, and they didn't see any need or reason for concern or alarm. Which, as you know, as the non-expert in the circuit of information to you guys, I agree with. I didn't also see anything. I mean, they've trained us on how to look for things.
Yeah.
But I also didn't see anything. But Andrew, yeah, that was right. It was sus.
Yeah.
For a couple of radar scans.
It was.
But that was only for a few minutes, and it was very likely nothing to be worried about. So.
Well, TBNA finally updated. TBNA has had a habit lately of seeing a storm and just melting in its shoes. But we had a little delay there getting some data. But we just got a new scan out of TBNA. Still showing some gusty winds possible. Could be 50, 55 miles per hour. They're crossing 840. And right around Indy High School, the Keystone neighborhood, right there around Sudbury Road. Again, that's right there where the Goose Creek bypass splits off of Columbia Pike. So it'll be approaching there in just a few minutes if this is reaching the ground. And it would sort of follow the Goose Creek bypass all the way up to Berry Farms and the fairgrounds, Ladd Park, and could be some gusty winds there. So we're just kind of trying to pick out some areas where there could be some enhanced winds. Some of those winds that just kind of make you go, whoa, for a second. And like that was too much, wasn't normal. And then they should hopefully move on pretty quickly after that. But if that happens, it looks like it's going to be right there around Goose Creek, Keystone, Indy High School, and the neighborhoods right in there.
So it looks like this storm, the tops of it are actually getting colder. So
could be weak. Could be strengthening as it moves east.
Yeah. So if you're east of us, of course, we are only Nashville and Williamson County, so Davidson County, Williamson County only. But if you're east of us, this could get rough this over the lunch hour and this afternoon out towards Cookeville, towards especially south of I-40, because I'm over here looking at the sandwich image, Andrew. Mm-hmm. And there's a pretty well-defined boundary kind of along and bisecting I-40 to our east. So I think that's where all this is going. I'll be surprised if we even get rain in Nashville today with the way this is going, because the only other energy is out in Arkansas, but looks like it's south of the boundary too. So I think we're probably going to skate in Nashville for this, but until that tornado watch is taken down, I'm not going to be comfortable. So,
yeah, and this when you're on the western edge of a watch like that, and you have the weather move through, it's not entirely unusual for a watch to get issued for like 6 hours, and then you're only in it for like 45 minutes, yeah. and then it gets taken down for you. And that may happen today. David, it looks like there's a little bit of a boundary. You can kind of see even here on the radar image.
It's the same one I'm seeing on radar,
Okay,
on satellite, yeah.
cool. Okay, yeah. So looks like some storms starting to fire Bedford, Cannon, DeKalb, Putnam counties there, Ventress, and of course a severe warning up in East Tennessee there. So, so yeah, once this moves by, we might be good for the day. But we're gonna, we'll have radar up at our desks, just kind of seeing if anything else develops. Let's check TBNA again. I'm kind of curious about these winds. These winds in southern Williamson County, and looks like they've sort of died down a little bit. So, still could be gusty. I'm not seeing anything that that seems worrisome. Check T-spotter here. 40, 50 mile per hour winds around Burwood. Brandon sent that in. 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts in the Burwood community. Not surprising at all. That seems about right. But we'll take 40, 50 over 60, 70. Well, let's check the chat here.
And nothing going on down in Lawrenceburg, a couple things, but
I'm sorry, I'm at the chat here on our stream. But yeah, which I forget to check sometimes. So, wind starting in Bethesda, McKay's Mill pouring. Very little wind, Goose Creek in 840. That's fantastic.
lunchtime is a purposefully floating phrase for a couple of reasons. One, sometimes we're not exactly sure when the storms will get there, and also, our coverage area is over 1,100 square miles. So if we say lunchtime and we think it's within a 2-hour window, I mean that's going to cover everybody from Fairview up to Madison or Rivergate. So it's purposefully vague. If we can be specific, we will be specific. But yeah, I'd say lunchtime is generally between 11 and 1, Andrew.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Of course, at my office, it's like 11.
At my office, when I hear everybody start gathering in the conference room and I hear the loud laughing, I realize it's about lunchtime. I'm surprised they haven't come and knocked on my door. I wrote a note that I'm on YouTube Live, but it seems like with my office, with my friends here, it seems like that would be more temptation just to bang on the door when they see that I'm on YouTube Live.
Nothing's really, yeah,
I'm not seeing anything really concerning here.
A couple positive strikes near Bethesda going up towards Arno, but Nashville has got nothing.
Yeah, I'm looking at a video here. Donna sent in some video from Bethesda and College Grove. Looks like maybe 10, 15 mile an hour winds. Nothing really concerning there.
But the tops of the storm are getting really cold.
Yeah.
Like that storm that's near Bethesda right now. That might be an issue for Murfreesboro when it gets in there.
Yeah. If you hear something on my mic, it's not really close lightning strikes. It's the dumpster man. It's right outside my window. If we have lightning in Oak Hill, we have bigger problems because it's not on radar at all. So, yeah, that's the dumpster man.
So it looks like it's pulling out of Spring Hill, but there's just still a few cells behind it before y'all can hop back out. And as you get into Nolensville, I guess the southern part of Nolensville, maybe from like Sunset South.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, aren't the Nolensville kids playing Little League today again?
I think that's right. Yeah, they've been doing pretty good.
Dude, it's funny. One of the kids, I coached his brothers. One of the kids lives down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like almost, it's not a neighborhood thing, but we have some semi-personal connections with the team.
Cool.
And then the Goodlettsville team from a long time ago, one of the kids on that team, his mother I went to high school with.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. If you're watching, Jackie, shout out. What's up?
What's up?
Where's ESPN here? See if they're on.
All right, if I had to pin down where some strongest winds would be, it'd be from right around Osborne Road. Osborne is that connects Wilson Pike over to Nolensville Road. So from Arrington, right there around the Arrington Post Office on 96, up to Osborne Road, over to Nolensville Road, McCandless Road. If I had to guess where the trees are bending low, it would probably be there. Potentially some 40 to 50 mile per hour winds there. Greg says Nolensville is leading Georgia 4-0, bottom of the fifth.
Excellent. I'm going to try to turn it on. Oh, is it on like ESPN?
Oh, I know now what y'all are talking about. Somebody mentioned something about product placement a minute ago. That's not what this. I was drinking my coffee. Sorry. And to be fair, the coffee that's in this cup is from my Keurig, actually. So anyway, I was trying to figure out what y'all were talking about. I was like, I'm not wearing anything that could be product placement.
I am. I got a Liverpool shirt on and a Cardinals hat on. But I can assure you they're not paying us.
Nor is Twice Dailies.
It's only the bottom of the fourth.
Jacob asks, what's the difference between severe thunderstorm and dangerous thunderstorm? Well, I don't know what the context is, but a severe thunderstorm, technically speaking, is winds 58 miles per hour or stronger, or 1 inch hail or larger, which is about the size of a quarter. So quarter size hail and 58 mile per hour winds is considered, technically speaking, to be a severe thunderstorm. A dangerous thunderstorm is open for discussion. I mean, if it has a ton of lightning in it, that's a dangerous thunderstorm. If it's severe, it's a dangerous thunderstorm. That's a little bit more open for interpretation.
So and we talked about this earlier, Andrew, but if you're just now tuning in, the area that was drawn for the tornado watch is drawn as a parallelogram, right? 2 lines here and then 2 slanted lines here, parallelogram, if you remember that from geometry class. The area that defines the watch, actually, we're not in. if you really drill down into it, but because some of the geopolitical boundaries, meaning where the counties are drawn, they don't want to draw the parallelogram and then list the counties that don't fill in the whole thing. So they'll kind of color outside the lines, which is what they've done, which is why Williamson and Davidson County are included in this watch. So the tornado watch is
There you
very, yeah. So you see that, technically, Davidson County is not going, is not even involved in that parallelogram. But what they decided to do was, because the storms hadn't come through yet and it was so close, that they decided to color outside the lines. So you'll notice that's also true on the west side of this, where you have one county all the way out in North Carolina that is completely outside. So there's a difference between where the meteorologists have decided to draw the area and the geopolitical boundaries, and they would rather include people than exclude people from the watch area, because technically it's within inside that parallelogram. There could be a tornado within whatever, 25 miles or something within it. So that's why we've been included. I've been looking at the ARRR model this morning, the last couple of runs. In fact, the 15Z run just came in, and all of the storms race off to the east and do not come into Nashville at all. And this one we're getting in Williamson County is the only one we get according to the weather models. So yeah, so I know that we're in a tornado watch. I know that your phones have probably been going crazy, and you might be seeing other sources freak everyone out, but I don't see any evidence of tornado now. That the bulk of the storm is now, as you can see on radar there, just on the exit stage east part of Williamson County, and completely missing Nashville. So I expect all of the weather shenanigans will end here shortly, and that when it's appropriate, they'll trim us out of the tornado watch area. They don't sit there and just trim everything as soon as it needs to. They have other things to do, but I think we're okay.
David, I think we hop off of here. Storms are non-severe in Williamson County. Looks like this will be, as David said, an east thing for us or for them, and it looks like we might skate by today without getting too much more. So we'll watch what happens to the east of us today, and probably won't have to deal with it here. But anyway, we'll have radar up at our desks today. We'll have an eye on it as we work, and we'll go from there. David, thanks for being on here, man.
Yeah.
All right.
No worries. We'll see you all on Twitter, X, or whatever we're calling it now.
All right, guys.